And we are live with the Knights of Transformation. Dun, dun, dun. So today we have who, at least once, was the youngest directive communication certified trainer in the history of DC. Now he's old, but he used to be young. Okay, and this guy, I mean, when he was 24, right, Anshul?
Yeah, yeah, it was
24 years old, man. This guy was making things happen, and since then he has made some big things happen. Um, let me introduce him. He is none other than the one, the only Anshul Dhingra. Yay!
thank you, Arthur. Thank you so much for this amazing introduction, and it's always an honor and pleasure to really talk to you and interact with you. And I still remember those days when I was 24. I met you for the first time in Lonavala in Mumbai, and we had an amazing time. And something which I learned, I'm still utilizing. And I promise you, during this whole conversation, you will be amazed to see how I have taken your learnings and transformed the life of individuals and organizations.
I'm can't wait to hear it. And you know what Anshul is going to be talking about? He is going to be talking about how to create a pandemic proof business. Okay, but it's not just about the pandemic, because it's literally, I mean, it's about any kind of turbulence, difficulty, and kind of stuff like that. So it's not just about the pandemic. So Anshul has been applying and using DC not only in his business and his work, but also in his family.
Yeah.
Okay, and we've been a whole part of that as well, and so that's been very exciting to see. So Anshul, go ahead and start telling us a little bit more about this journey that you've had and how you have created pandemic-proof businesses.
Thank you, Arthur, once again for this opportunity. So, when we were, there was a lot of talk about and discussions about that we are living in a VUCA world, correct, where it is volatile, uncertain, complex, and there's a lot of ambiguity. But something like COVID will strike, never ever somebody has thought. People have done a lot of strategies, people have planned a lot, but something like this will strike and will hit so badly, never ever somebody has imagined. So what happened was, I was doing a good work with my clients, and we were trying to have, it was around March when it struck last year, and we were planning for the next year that we will scale up sales. We were doing the planning in that perspective, how we will be going to do exports and all that stuff. But suddenly a lockdown situation came, and we realized the power of VUCA. We realized how something which happened in a small city of Wuhan can make the world stand still. And that's where, so I was I was getting a lot of calls, because all, the reptilian brain got activated at that time of most of the business owners. They were not able to understand, figure out what to do, how to do it. And I was receiving a lot of call. But as a kind, they wanted to have a conversation with me as a mentor. But as a mentor, also I am in a critical situation, because I don't know what is going to happen next. So I was also in a critical situation. What was common, what was there in me at that time was a little hope, which I'm able to live up initially, which I'm able to ignite in the people. So I was receiving call. Now then, once I was listening to, we had a long conversations, and one of the conversation, I remember, was like, what is the best strategy when somebody asks you? And I think we had a discussion, and something which came up like this: what worked for you at this time, at the time when you needed the most, correct? So what happened was, what I realized, that as a mentor, now I have a responsibility. I cannot leave my community of these business owners who have a faith in me, these leaders who have a faith in me. I cannot leave them like this. So what should I do now? Then I realized what I have. Let me collect my knowledge. Let me have the best tools. As I'm right now in a war front. What can I do best? I can have my best tools, my best resources with me, and let's go in the market, because I have a confidence that I'll be able to solve. With that confidence, faith, and hope, I jumped into that arena, and I tried to think of a model on how I can support people. The first very important thing, Arthur, I did was there was a model with 5 P's and 3 C's. So I'm going to just give you a little hint and you can ask any question if you have in between. The first three, first I make them aligned with 3 P's. That is called positive, progressive perspectives. Positive progressive perspectives. It is, I told them multiple time, because what gets, what you say multiple time get encoded in and as so I utilize that first element of how I can remove their encoded assumptions by creating a different rule of engagement for them. So what I did was I made them realize that this is just a situation. This is just a situation which we need to handle. This is temporary, not, it is not going to be permanent. So what I did was I would give them a different perspective to look at things, perspective to look at business, perspective to look at people, perspective to look at future. Correct? We all are in a crisis situation. We all are at home. Now, there are two ways. Either let the fear rule us, or let us decide what is going to be the fate of what we created with our blood, sweat, hard work. That is your organization, your system, your empire. And then slowly and slowly it started working. And people, I was able to shift people from thinking mode to reasoning mode. You, the first fundamental which Arthurs speak about, from thinking mode to reasoning mode, and I think that's the first lesson in the book of identity intelligence as well. So I was able to actually help people, bring them into a reasoning mode. That was more important, because otherwise the reptilian was so activated, and they were taking all wrong decisions. They were trying to not stop the payment of the vendors. They were trying to stop the payment salaries of the employees, and a whole lot of shit they were doing, because they were not consciously thinking about the repercussions or the bigger impact. Now, second, once the perspective is set, they were progressive, they really wanted. Now it's the time for our pillars of culture evolution. That is, first, alignment of purpose. What was different, what I thought that what can be done right now is to help them align with a greater and a bigger purpose. Unless they think bigger than the self, bigger than their self, and align with the bigger purpose, they will not be able to do it. And I help them do that. So I utilize the model of 5 pillars of transformation, and I really say that it really worked. I help them have that, agility in their mind, their communication, the greater purpose, the alignment of the team, every step by step model to create a leadership enriched culture. Although,
Awesome.
it's like, it's not about the blaming right now or let and live, because everywhere it's a fear. So you need to, I told them that right now it's the time for you to really showcase your leadership abilities. It's not the time to show that you don't have money, you don't have resources, you just go and quit things. You can't do that. You have created it. You are accountable for it. You are the leader of this organization where people will look up to. You can't ignore phone calls. You have to take phone calls, face it. This is the time for you to enrich your leadership abilities. And Arthur, it really worked. I helped them understand how different cultures work and what are the positives about it. And so that model really worked for us, and really created an impact that, yes, I need to really take charge and think for a bigger purpose. We realign the missions and visions and milestones, goals, considering the situation at hand. Now, coming to the third part is about planning and strategizing. And I want to give you why I say that the crisis proof. We decided that every organizations, when it is a family driven or it is a single driven organization, single person driven, if it is a single person driven, he might be having some key resource people, which we call as influencers, maybe in his systems, correct? Or if it is a family driven system, every different individual in the family might be having different skill set which they are utilizing in the business. So what I help them in understanding, there are 3 ways where we can understand and categorize business right now. First is survival, second is sustaining, and third is scalability. So let's have a team of people and influencers within the system who will work on just survival. who will talk to people, who will understand their pain. If somebody is COVID positive, if somebody is having a challenge in family, if somebody has a mishap in the family, they will just call and console them. They will understand their thought process. And that's where I set the foundation already in the colored brain model. And but I oh sorry in the culture foundation model, where I upgraded them. But then I aligned the team, some part of the team along with influences for only working on the survival activities. Then comes the sustainable activities, like whether we can sell something right now, whether there is an opportunity, whether there is an opportunity to recover money from our clients. Where are the challenges, where are the gaps, is there something which we can sell right now, is how much resources we have, how much we can sustain. All that part, we created a team who will work on the sustainability to
That's
ensure.
brilliant. So basically, each of these teams has ownership for their particular part, and so
Yes.
they're measured and essentially praised for achieving those specific one thing. So they're because they're
Yes.
focused, it becomes a lot easier for them to really achieve what they're there for.
Yes. Otherwise, what was happening in most of the organization, everybody is running in one direction. Everybody is either running for survival, 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 and the thought process was, whether we are going to survive or not, whether this organization will sustain or not. So I divided the whole thought process into three, and then I divided one great team of greens, reds, and blues combination, powerful, driven by green, on working on the scalability part. Why? And one great thing, Arthur, people realized across the globe is government is the biggest support system for people at that time. In India, if I talk about, there were billions of opportunities, millions and billions of opportunities government has created. The government was procuring masks, sanitizers, medical equipments. Government was preparing at a war front. And so what we did was we created a team, and government issued a notification where there was a lot of lists of things which government will procure. And I asked my community, I asked those team members to identify what you can do right now with this part. Right now, before, while you are sitting at home, still you have an opportunity to work with government. And government was paying money back in less than 45 days, which
Wow.
no clients they're paying. And yeah, and these three elements worked. There was one person, there was one team calling people, empathizing, sympathizing, working to make the morale of the people up. There was one people maintaining working with clients to help ensure a little payment from any sources to maintain the sustainability of the system. And there was one team who was just focusing in this time of crisis also on scalability, how we can leverage the best right now possible. So this was happened. Now I tell you how I identified these teams. The teams were identified also on the basis of their skills and their ability to communicate better. But one of the two major criteria was the colored brain and emotional drivers.
Nice.
So I made a blue team, a blue person, combination of dominated blue, as somebody who was working on the survival part, where he was talking to people, empathizing with people. Correct. His emotional driver is love and belonging. He wanted to really, understand how it feels to be in pain. So he was able to relate well. There was no logic. I didn't align any red brain into that part, because he will put in logic and he will try to explain logic. But at that time, people are not understanding logics. They need emotions, they need touch. The sustainable part team, I made a red person drive that team along with the other team. And his driver, primary emotional driver, could be about growth, understanding growth, and he is driven by that growth. So he will try to look for opportunities and find out from where he can bring back a little money for the system. Scalability, purpose, think for a bigger vision, just go and grab it. And I'm proud to share with you, Arthur, more than 50 organizations were making money at that time when there was
Brilliant.
top of the crisis.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
So that's how the planning and strategizing happened. Now comes, once the planning is done, the people were aligned what they need. They need to be prepared more, because They have got a bigger purpose, vision, but they still are not equipped enough with the right tools so that they can go and execute the things in a better way. I conducted a leadership workshop, which is our beautiful Heroes Way workshop for them.
Awesome,
So
awesome. Now, you just to let people know, because not
yeah,
everybody knows everything that we're referencing here. So first of all,
yes,
colored brain, okay, is essentially the identification and measurement of the brain's genetic ambiguity relief process. Okay, so what that basically means is how your brain gets clarity. So it's not your
yes,
personality, it's
yes,
not your behavior. It is literally clarity. So you can have the same behaviors in different colored brains, but the process of how they achieve those behaviors is different.
yeah,
Emotional drives. So colored brain essentially is your how. Okay.
yes,
Emotional
yes,
drive is your why. It's basically the motivations and foundations of why you do things. And that changes when you mix different people together. So when you have certain emotional, like for example, that's why you have certain environments where you may have the skills, but you go into an environment and you're not really applying those skills, while in another environment that has different emotional drive mixes, you're like super amazing awesomeness, in
true,
applying those
true,
skills. Okay. So, and then he's talking about the culture model, which is the culture evolution model. So you can find that at cultureevolution.com. You can find colored brain at coloredbrain.com. And the emotional drive, you can find it at emotionaldrive.net. Okay. So all of these are part of the directive communication psychology body of work, and all of them, especially when they're combined, as you can hear from Anshul, have some amazing, powerful results. Okay,
true,
take it
true,
away.
true. And yes, to all the viewers, must go through these websites. And if you're a business owner, must visit these websites to have an idea of how really you can, you know, with these focused learning, how you can create a bigger impact in your organization. And now, Arthur, when it was okay, so I must tell you, I did a Heroes Way training for preparing
Great.
those teams. I
And the
would give you,
Heroes Way
yeah,
is a conglomerate. It's a flagship program of DC Psychology, currently ranked as the #3 best leadership program in the world. You can see more on the Heroes Way at heroesway.net.
yes.
Okay.
So it's currently ranked as one of the top three leadership programs
No,
in
as
the
the no,
the
number three.
yeah,
Number three.
number three leadership best leadership programs in the world. Uh, so now what happened is the people, now it was almost 30 days or 25-30 days when I was working with them till the time I've reached now. In that preparation, when I did a Heroes Way program with them, they were able to connect the dots why I was doing something at that time, why I was saying that, what was rules of engagement, what kind of insanities were there. So all these principle concepts of insanities, rules of engagement, sorry, focus on objective rather than process, circle of tolerance, colored brain really amazed them because they were able to see things in a different way. And combination of emotional drive. And Arthur, I did a huge emphasis on the postures part. I tell them
Awesome.
that you're going to be in the market. You can't be like, lazy and talking, we will all survive, we will all focus. You need to understand, you need to be a warrior when it needs to be a warrior, and you need to be a lover when it needs to be a lover. So all these three streams, I train them primarily on what kind of postures they need to adopt while talking to people, while talking to clients, while talking to customers, what they need to do on all that stuff. Apart from then, uh, coming to when the Heroes Way was done for it, and people were now equipped enough, they've got the right tools, they got the right model, they have the clarity in the mind, they know that they need to build the right foundation for creating the right culture within the system right now, if they need to survive, sustain, and scale in this future. Now
Brilliant.
comes, now when they are all aligned, then we talked about people initially, then we made once our focus was on aligning right people on the job, from fear to little start working for the culture, for the system, then from people normal working to productivity, and then driving to performance. Whether it took us 6 months to do that, but yes, we started working on this. One great element which we started with is personalization. We said scrap every processes right now. We don't need processes, performance metrics. People are really scared. They let them first come, be comfortable, let them just try to perform things. Don't put them into performance metrics. If you don't do this, if you don't do this, they are already in a bigger fear of threat of life. What is bigger than that? So don't put them into pressure. Personalization will always work. Let them feel personalized, let them give them personalized attention, support, whatever best possible at this time. Second, Arthur, what worked is three levels of commitment. From focus on self, because it was self at that time, because we were in a threatening position whether we will survive. If yesterday if tomorrow I get a COVID and I might not survive, this was a threat which was there in their mind, the fear there is in mind. So focus was on self. Then we worked slowly and slowly with people to focus, and started improving their skill set, momentum, and we shifted the little focus toward group, and then finally the focus was shifted towards the bigger cause. Let's together build this organization. We have worked, we have created this with our hard work and sweat. We will not let it down. We will let the morale up. We will build that culture together. That feeling and spirit was ignited slowly and slowly, and the three levels of commitment developed by Arthur Karmazi really worked well, and I must congratulate. So, why I'm saying all this, why I'm sharing all this, I'm telling you, Arthur, what worked at what time. That was really, really crucial. And all my DC fellow members, I really consciously made an effort to utilize the DC psychology in the great way. Arthur, why I use this? Because I feel today, as on date, I've also in my career I've learned a little more things. But what I feel is at
Hope
that
so.
time, yeah, Well, yeah. So what I really realized is, when the situation was in crisis, I saw a lot of conventions, a lot of people were sharing a wisdom of bigger management lessons, of bigger management principles. But what I feel, that is not going to work. Something which is practical, something which is easy to relate, something which is easy to apply, something which can bring results in a less time will work. And nothing better than DC psychology came as a rescuer for many, many organizations. Now I give you, so what I did was, I used the while dealing with people, I gave them a mantra to use the language, what can I do, rather than what can you do for me. So every time you call anyone, just ask him, what can I do for you? That will bring you connect and close to the people. And then slowly we help them do more productive activities, performance. We were able to, we did a lot of competitions and small things like that to divert their mind from fear to working in an environment. Yes, Arthur, another thing which worked was the story of Monkey King. The video of Monkey King management, which I used multiple time, really worked. People were able to understand the different levels. People were able to understand how perceptions are created. That initial, people were understand why they are not able to fetch that banana. Correct. Why they are not able to climb the ladder and get to that banana. People were able to understand all that logics in a beautiful way. I don't have to explain much. The story was so powerful, narrated by you, that has really worked well for that time. So three things which worked: personalization, three levels of commitment, uh, Monkey King management, apart from the colored brain and emotional drive, where we were able to align people. So we did this consciously, where we were able to align people. Now once everything is ready, then I gave them one thing which I created. I love these kind of jargons, but I created one 3C model, which is called conscious constructive communication.
Nice.
Correct. So I gave them this logic of why consciously you need to be constructive in your communication, because you are stakeholders, because you're leaders, you're influencers. Every word from you will make a lot of impact right now. If you say to your people, I am sure you are going to do it, that is really going to work. I'm with you, whatever it be. We are together. We will make it happen. And we are going to pass this tough time together. I'm with you. We are like a family. All these words matters a lot. If you say, this is a hard situation, I cannot do anything. What best I can do, I will see to it. This is not the response which people are expecting from you as a leader right now. So you need to be very much conscious in and have that constructive communication which will build towards future, which will build towards hope, which will build towards faith in people, so that they can come back and work with you. And and I told them, this is going to not this 2 months or 3 months. This leadership ability which you will develop right now will be with you for a longer time, and you are going to be a new person, a better version of you, once you come out. So last, then Arthur, I did a game. Now coming, but people are aligned, communication is aligned, clarity is there, and people are doing constructive communication. But then, to run a company, what we need cash, we need money, and money will come from customers. So every customer was in the same situation. It's not like, we so everybody, either they were in a critical situation or not, but the reply which we were getting over call was simple. It's a COVID time. I'm also in a wrong situation. I'm not in a right state. I cannot. So what we did was, this is for all the people who are struggling for sales and recovery. What we did was, I asked them to write down the list of their customers. And I sat with their sales team, the sales stakeholders, and everyone. I asked them to identify the colored brain, the assumed colored brain of those individuals. And I asked them to identify what could be the emotional drivers for those, your customers who still you have to pay, who have to pay you. Correct? So, and Arthur, what I did was, I segregated the two slots. It is all purely based on what worked for me. What I'm saying, maybe something else will work for people. Maybe people might have a different perspective. But what worked for me, for new leads, for new sales, which was in the pipeline and which could be closed, and for people who were, I choose green and reds at that time, along with the colored brain of growth, contribution, recognition, and growth and contribution. Why? Because there are industries who are growing at that time where we can support. There are industries who were not having that cash crunch at that time. They were having the surplus. So greens and reds. Why I choose the green and reds? Because it needs to be driven. It needs to be driven with a bigger vision. So people with bigger vision will be aligned. People with bigger vision will understand our challenges and will try to support. Maybe not 100%, maybe 50%. People with red brain will try to understand the logic if we give them the clarity of structures, of how this can help, of how we can help them. So if you are able to give them a clarity and a structured roadmap of how we are going to support them at this time, and what kind of support we need from them, logically they will understand, and it will be easy for us. We don't want to go into purple zone. We don't want to go into too emotional zone, because blue will try to empathize or give their own perspective. But yes, it will work. But I chose green and red as primarily person to go and do the business with. Secondly, for payments and recovery, what we did, we again aligned the whole list and see the colored brain and emotional driver. And I choose here the combination along with a little blue, combination of red and blue. So why? Because or sometimes we choose the green. So we did this combination multiple times to understand the things. But what worked was really, here for recovery, we choose the people with high growth, high recognition and significance. Why? The reason is, we believe that, if you have that thinking if you have the drive to have recognition and significance, you will try. You will not. Would not like your name to be bad in the market. Correct? And we utilize that element, that we contacted all those people who are having a significant name in the market, and who feels that their name is supreme and they really work for that significance. We requested them, and they were the people who understand, people who with growth, people with contribution. Three drivers we identified in the individuals, and I just focus for sales and for recovery on these few elements which really worked for me. We didn't went to anybody who was thinking a lot. Maybe I will see, I will get back to you. Let me work on my financials and all that stuff. Because most of the things was not working at that time. It's like connect right now. If you have 100, I just need 10 to survive. Can you give me 10? You still have 90 to support your organization. If you cannot give 10, no worries, let's talk later. Let me talk to somebody who can give me 10, who can give me 5, who can give me 7 right now, just for my sustainable. And let's and then people have realized that they are having a cash crunch, they need to sustain. Then another model comes of collaboration. I asked all the stakeholders to sit and identify what all areas they can collaborate on. See the people with the industries who are selling to the same customers. Can we collaborate with them? It will save our cost, resources, manpower, and a lot of things. At this time of crisis, what we can do, we can collaborate better. Correct. People, you know,
Absolutely.
Arthur, earlier it was like, if you really in a normal state, if they want to collaborate with somebody, people will have different assumptions why they want to collaborate, whether my client, they will take away my client, they will do this, they will do that, all sort of all that negative things. But then people realize that today collaboration is one of the most important key to safeguard your business liabilities. You safeguard your uh, uh, and share your resources, time, money, energy. Ultimately, you're selling to the same client. Why to do multiple efforts?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the collaboration element. I mean, that's really brilliant because I mean that's also, I mean, as human beings, that's what we're trying to strive for is to be more united instead of being worried about what everybody else is going to do to you or take away from you. I mean, the element of collaboration and unity ultimately always benefits all parties involved.
Yes. And so collaboration really worked. And I have real life almost 10 success stories of how beautiful collaborations in industry really worked. And one of my client has done 4 collaborations at that time, 4 collaborations. And right now, once the things are now better, they have wonderful, so they have created one new office where they have shared resources, shared everything. So they have reduced the cost to a great extent. Just, all those people who are trying to just boast about themselves, those egoistic people, they don't enter into this world of collaboration. But people who realize the power, they're really fetching money right now. And last
Brilliant.
but not the least, Arthur, uh, I that was a personal learning which I received from you, and I utilized. I made them celebrate all small and big successes.
Awesome. Awesome.
And
All
I
right.
think this few p's, like initial, which starts from the perspective, then the purpose, then preparation and planning, then aligning preparedness, people, all these p's really set the right foundation. And then the communication, cash and customers, uh, uh, collaboration and celebration set the another momentum. So that's what I was able to utilize, the learnings I got from you, the founder of DC Psychology, and I was able to implement all that great learning. So Arthur, uh, I'm not, many people know about your name, because whenever I did that, I give significance, and I give acknowledgement to you every time when I say. So you have got a lot of blessings and a lot of good wishes from people who got the clarity during this pandemic time.
Fantastic. Wow, and Shul, this is, I really appreciate, I mean, the journey that you've gone through. I mean, it's, I mean, spinning in your own, way of using DC and making a huge impact, and more importantly, I mean, really saving people's lives in this.
Yes.
And I mean, that's, it's not just their businesses, but I mean, because there's so many people right now that have just gone into depression because of various things, and they give up, and that affects their families and affects so much. But here, what you've done by creating these positive business perspectives, giving people that element of what they can really do and how they can do it. I mean, and putting your own experience and spin on it, Absolutely brilliant, Anshul. Absolutely brilliant. I mean, DC is just a platform. Okay. And it's how you use it. And you have literally taken this platform, the tools, and and built a beautiful castle from it.
Yeah, yeah. So
So
I
thank you.
really thank you, Arthur. Thank you. That words from you really means a lot. Yeah, it really, really, really worked. And I must say to all the people, all our DC fellow members and people who are watching this video live right now, uh, this is very, very transformational. Just need to see how it worked for you. You need to really connect the dots yourself. Once you understand the whole model, you will understand the beauty of the model behind and how beautifully you can create a really a powerful business organization. And if you really want to know real life case studies, want to know more from the people who have gone through the journey, I, just let me know. I can connect with them with you as well.
So how can people get a hold of you, Anshul? Where would they get a hold of you?
Either you get in directly in touch with the team of directive communication or Arthur Karmazi, or you can really my email address is connect connect at dr.anshuldingra.com. And Arthur, once when I met Arthur and I became the world's youngest trainer in DC psychology. At that time I was not a doctorate, but I have done my DC doctorate, and one of the key elements of my PhD is also directive communication psychology, where I clubbed DC psychology and utilized it very well into my whole research.
Awesome,
So you
awesome.
can
Yeah, there's
get in
actually been
touch.
a number of PhD. Dr. Marine Milad
Yeah,
has also done some stuff. Dr. Weechin. So there's been a lot of PhDs and additional research using DC psychology to further expand
yeah,
its not just the academic elements, but also the practical elements of application.
true, true, true.
So thank you again.
Thank you,
All right.
Arthur. Looking forward. So we are really so I on behalf of DC psychology team and myself with Arthur, I just would like all of you to come forward. And I say, this is Arthur, this is also one important message which I really want to share with people is come forward. It's a challenging time, no worries, but we are there to support. If you don't come forward, you don't seek for support, you will not get support, and you will struggle within. That is more, challenges. There is a struggle, but there is a struggle within you which is not allowing you. So put aside your ego, put aside everything, come forward, take help. These tools, these systems, these models are really, really so powerful to support you at this time, and we as a team can together bring a great evolution in your system. I can promise that on
Brilliant.
behalf of the whole community. So come forward, seek support, and bring the organization and live your dream for which you have created this organization.
Fantastic. All right, Anshul. Well, thank you again so much for joining us on the Nights of Transformation. And I'm so grateful that you're here. And well, okay. And next week we've got some more awesome people and more awesome discussions. And so that's it for today. So thank you, Anshul. Any last words for everybody?
Live your dreams, focus on your skills, utilize the best tools, and don't let any pandemic, any crisis impact your vision. You are there for a purpose. Make it happen, and then leave the world with a legacy.
Fantastic. All right. So this is Arthur Karmazi and Anshul Dingra wishing you great success.
Great success.
Bye.